Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Mortal Kombat 2021 review, and in the words of Simon Phoenix,
let's get this over quickly.
Retina coding accepted, Warden William Smithers. Be well.
Yeah, you too.
yeah, so Mortal Kombat 2021. Where do I even start with this film? This was appalling. It was an abysmal movie. It was one of my most highly anticipated movies this year. For a martial arts movie, for an action movie, it missed every single mark to me. It was poorly acted. The script, the story was paper thin. You know, we're talking about like direct to TV style acting, like you see on some of the other shows that are going around, some of the really cheap looking shows. It was pathetic. Besides that, put all that aside, the acting, everything about it, the CGI, the acting, the bad story, the bad characters, all they had to do was nail down the martial arts. I could have forgiven them for all that other shit if they'd have just nailed the martial arts. And they completely missed the target with that as well. Completely missed the target with it. It was poorly choreographed, short fight scenes, like a couple of seconds. Some of the fight scenes lasted for 10 seconds and that was it. This movie is should be about martial arts, about fighting. You know, it should have been spectacular, prolonged martial arts fights. It had none of it whatsoever. I will say this, the opening 7 minutes of the movie, they were really good and set the film up to be like a promising movie. I was thinking, oh, this looks like it could be good. And I think it's really low and it's a real dirty trick of the studios. How often do you see it that a big movie releases like a 7-minute clip of the movie or a 10-minute clip of the movie? Basically, I think what they've done is they've shown you that clip. And by the way, guys, that's the best 7 minutes of the movie. I am not even joking you. It just, from that 7 minutes, it swan dives straight into direct-to-TV. It does. Don't even care what people say. It 100% does. What they've done is they've done that because I think that they know that they have a subpar movie. They know that the rest of the movie is fucking drivel. It was laughable. Some of the acting was absolutely laughable. The story, there was no story. It was absolutely shit. It was the Cole Young show. Do you know what I mean? All the other characters were the back burner of it, if you like. Do you know what I mean? It was, there was a couple of things through the movie which there's a couple of things through the movie that stopped me turning the movie off. Like Kano was pretty funny, you know, even though it was really funny and I enjoyed some of his lines, but it wore thin. Do you know what I mean? Eventually it was wearing thin because, as my friend Paul Tams was saying, he carries the entire movie. You know, if you said to me a year ago, they're making a Mortal Kombat movie and Kano will carry the movie, I would have laughed in your face. I would have laughed in your fucking face. The intro's good, Kano's good. Sub-Zero looks good, and the end fight's okay. It's okay. It's over far too quickly, but it's okay. Scorpion's not in this movie. You see Scorpion as himself at the start. You see him in 2 flashes that you've seen in the trailer, and then he comes at the very end of the movie that you've seen in the trailer. Don't be expecting to see Scorpion kick an arsehole through this movie, because he doesn't. He drops in, has a fight, and fucks off again. Simple as that. It was appalling. They set it up as well, where like Cole Young and Scorpion had to fight Sub-Zero because Sub-Zero is just such a badass. They beat him down a little bit. Sub-Zero takes his mask off and then gets owned by them both within like seconds. I was so disappointed, guys. I wanted this to be amazing. We talked about this, me and my friends. you know, we discussed like how, you know, we were a bit nervous about it. The trailer looked good, and, you know, but it was just a massive, massive letdown. I couldn't believe what I was watching, how bad it was. And I've had so many rows with people online over the weekend defending this movie, saying it's like an amazing movie. People giving it like 10 out of 10. Like, some big review channels are giving it like a 9.5 out of 10. Like, how much are Warner Brothers paying you to say this is good? What it is, guys, is we're being fed shit and expected to call it caviar. You know, I am a massive fan of the franchise. I love the movies and I was really looking forward to it. But I'm not going to turn around because I'm a fan of the franchise and defend a movie that's shit. I'm just not going to do it. It was a poor, poor movie. The budget, they had like a £20 million budget. Right, guys, I know people always are going to refer back to these movies now. And my friend Paul has said the same thing in his movie. These movies piss all over this film. This is the bar. This is the standard that's been set. This is one of the greatest martial arts films, The Raid 2, ever made. And besides that, it's a really good story. It's well acted. It's a well thought out movie. Like, the end fight in this movie took 8 days to film. If they'd have put that sort of thought and care into the Mortal Kombat movie, we'd be having a completely different conversation. Do you know what I mean? This movie was made with 4 million. Mortal Kombat was made with 20 million. Like, if I'm the director, that's another problem. The director of this movie, you're making what should be the best martial arts film that we've seen in the last 4 or 5 years. You know what I mean? At least a year. The best martial arts film of the year. So you hire a director that's never directed movies before, and you're expecting him to be able to pull it off. Do you know what I mean? If I'm the director, I'm sitting down with all the crew, all the cast, everyone, and I'm saying, we're watching these 2 films right now. And this is the bar. This is the standard that we need to set it to. Not this close-up Steven Seagal choppy fighting. That's no good. That's subpar. That's poor editing and poor choreograph. Do you know what I mean? What are you thinking? Do you know what I mean? At least make the martial arts good, and it wasn't. Do you know what I mean? The end fight in this movie goes on for 7 minutes. That's what Mortal Kombat should be. It should be prolonged fight scenes, massive fight scenes with the best martial arts you've seen. Do you know what I mean? They didn't have Iko Uwais in this movie. They didn't have Scott Adkins in this movie, Amy Johnson, Donnie Yen, you know, anyone, you know, all these martial arts amazing actors. Where were they? Why weren't they in this movie? Why wasn't Gareth Evans approached about this movie? Do you know what I mean? What are they thinking? Like, Warner Brothers, they've just got so much, like, interference and all that as well. It is, they just don't care about the viewer. They're not arsed. And like, so many people were like, what are you talking about? They're setting it up for a sequel and all that. Yes, so I make a mediocre subpar film, then I walk into producers and say, oh, don't worry about that, because the sequel's going to be better. Oh, that's fine, then we'll just write you another check for 30 million. It doesn't work like that. Do you know what I mean? Sequels are made off the back of good movies, and this wasn't a good movie. Do you know what I mean? They've been helming it as like the next best thing, like listening to all the actors talk shit. We've got like quality martial artists in this movie. You've got one, Joe Towson, who was one of the main guys in the Raid movie. He was amazing in this movie. You know, I don't understand it. Like, they either didn't let him have any sort of input or creative freedom in this movie whatsoever, and he just thought, do you know what? Fuck it, it's a payday. I'll just keep my mouth shut and do what they want. Do you know what I mean? If I was them, I would be sitting down with him and just saying, look, can you get in touch with these guys from the Raid? Can you bring this over? Like, this fight scene was amazing. Can we try and do something like that? Can we incorporate it into this movie? No, none of it. But, you know, where was that? You know, I'm sorry to, like, harp on about the Raid movies, but that's the bar that's been set. Do you know what I mean? These people, they're paid a lot of money. They should be using this as an example for their movie. Do you know what I mean? The benchmark's been set. Right, let's try and push it past it. Like, Cole Young was awful. Liu Kang was awful in this movie. He doesn't do anything. He does nothing. He comes out with, like, the cheesiest lines. Reptiles, an iguana. They fight an iguana. Do you know what I mean? Like Paul said as well in his video, there's no tournament in this movie. Yeah, but they're setting it up for a sequel. Well, why is it called Mortal Kombat then? Do you know what I mean? Why is it not called Mortal Kombat the prequel? Do you know what I mean? Mortal Kombat the bullshit builder. I don't know. I'm baffled by this film. I honestly think I woke up the next day and I thought, I've dreamt it. You know, a movie I've been waiting all year for, and I fucking dreamt it. But the studios as well, I think that's really bad. Hooking people in with that, it is literally like you watch the first 7 minutes and then it's another director's giving the rest of the movie. And that's it then. And they want you to pay £16 for a one-off showing of it. Do you know what, guys? You can go and make your own mind up. I didn't want to be making this video. I wanted to be telling you how amazing this movie was. But it wasn't. The story was appalling. You know, they've got these birthmarks on them. And that can tell you whether you can get your powers when you get to... When you're in... So basically, the characters, they all come together. And the majority of the film is set in Raiden's lair, which looks like the set of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. It looks shoddy, cheaply made. And then if you don't have this one birthmark, you can't get your superpowers. So Sonya Blade can't have her superpowers because she hasn't got the thing. But she wants to go and kill someone who has got it because it gets transferred onto you then. But Kano's jumped in and killed him first, so she's just kidnapped Kano and got him now. Do you know what I mean? Jax's superpower, right? Get onto this. So he gets his arms blown off by Sub-Zero at the start, and then they put these weird little metal arms on him which are dead feeble, and they look ridiculous. And then all of a sudden, his superpower is to grow metal. He just grows like segments that are bigger. He produces metal arms. That's his fucking power. Do you know what I mean? Melina looked awesome in this movie. She was utilised for about 2 seconds. That was it. Do you know what I mean? I can't even remember. She gets shot by a pulse thing that comes out of Sonya Blade's arm. It was, you know, there was no fights in this movie. It was just like... It was so bad that they got to the end of the movie, right? So Cole Young, he decides that he can't be arsed with it anymore and wants to go home. So he goes home back to his trailer park, and then Goro turns up at the trailer park, and then he fights Goro, and then Goro's going to like attack his family, and he gets his superpower through that. And his superpower is like some interwoven armor that comes on him. That's it. And then he can somehow beat Goro and like kill him. Then the next thing you know, they're in like this fucking other realm, in this cloud realm, and Cole Young's telling them all who's gonna fight who. You nip out and kill this guy. You nip out and kill Kano. You do that. You do this. You do that. And then it's like as if they'd got to the last 10 minutes of the movie and thought, shit, there's been no fights. We need to just rush it. And then the next thing you know, you've got Sonya Blade and Kano fighting in a trailer park again. You've got Liu Kang fighting some fucking dickhead. Shang Tsung does nothing. Does zero in this movie. And then the next thing you know, they're just in the locations. They're talking about who they need to fight. And then the next thing you know, they're there fighting them. That's it. It's like, oh shit, quickly. Sonya needs to fight Melina. Boom, done. Guy, what have you fucking done? I can't believe it. I'm ranting on big time, but I'm so disappointed with this movie. I don't want to see another one. I don't want to see a sequel not with the same people that have made this one. They haven't done it justice. They've done it a disjustice. They've shat all over the movie. You know, they had the potential and the opportunity to make a fantastic movie, but they just didn't. They don't care. They're not bothered. It's just about the money. You know, Warner Brothers must have had an insane amount of like, you know, jumping in, telling them what they can and can't do, interference on this movie. Like I said, there was a couple of things which kept me from turning it off. You know, there was little things like Sub-Zero had like this like smoke what sort of followed him round and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. But the character, it was terrible, guys. It was really terrible. And I wouldn't want to see any of my friends spend £16 to rent this movie. Just wait for it to come on Netflix. It's a Sunday morning hungover, stick it on, leave your brain at the door and watch it, you know, help you fall off to sleep with a hangover. It was a very, very bad movie. I can't get my head around how bad it was. And how many people are saying it's good. You know, it's not a good movie. Do you know what I mean? I don't know why. It's just like, they've set their standards so low that they're just willing to accept anything that's given to them. Do you know what I mean? It's not the case. It's how these bad movies are pushed forward. You know, this should have been like a great movie. They've had so long. Like, cinema's been shut down. They've had ages to, like, you know, re-edit the movies the best they can, or like look at it again. Like, who's watched through this movie? How has Joe Talslim sat down, watched this movie, and he's been like, yeah, it's amazing. It's like, it ain't good, guys. I'm giving this movie like a 3 out of 10, and I'm being generous with that. Like, I would never pay for this movie. Like, I'll never buy it on 4K. I'll never buy it on Blu-ray. I'm done with this movie by these people. If they bring out another, apparently they're trying to get 4 sequels on the go. I don't want to see them. It doesn't, unless it's a completely different director. Unless they turn around to me and say Gareth Evans is directing the second one and he's got complete creative freedom. Do you know what I mean, guys? Don't be fed shit and think you have to like it, because you don't. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to be having a discussion today saying how much I loved the movie, like how much I was looking forward to it. Like, oh yeah, the acting was a little bit yeah, or the story was a little bit but they nailed the martial arts on it. It was a great martial arts movie. Loads of really good fights in it. None of that. None of it. If you want to watch a good martial arts movie and you haven't seen them, check out the Raid movies. They are incredibly superior. They are just amazing movies. This Mortal Kombat is a shit movie, and these are amazing movies, made with real heart as well, by people who love the genre. If you like these movies and you've never listened to any of Gareth Evans' podcasts, he loves the movies. He's a Welsh director who went to live in Indonesia, and he loves the genre and pays it justice. These movies are phenomenal movies, and this Mortal Kombat just wasn't. It was so poor, and I'm done moaning about it. I want to put something good on. I'm going to watch one of these movies to wash the bad taste out of my mouth. So guys, you know, comment down below. What did you think? Did you love it? You know, did you hate it? Were you in between? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Am I totally out of left field here? You know, do you feel like I've watched a different movie to you? It was just a terrible, terrible film, in my opinion. Tell me yours below. Please like and subscribe, and thanks very much for joining me today. See you guys. Bye-bye.